those of you just rolling in and joining us here, want to say good morning or early afternoon, depending on where you're at. Welcome to today's Copilot webinar training, if you will. We're going to give everybody another 1 to 2 minutes here to just kind of roll on in and get settled, and then we'll get the show on the road. Appreciate everybody being here. All righty, party people, we're going to go ahead and kick off the show. Let's do it. Good morning or early afternoon. My name is Dave Glantz. I'm going to be your facilitator, your presenter for today's session. All this is brought to you by a fantastic Microsoft partner by the name of OnPar. So for all of your Microsoft needs, whether it be licensing, you name it, they are a 100% go-to recommended partner for a variety of solutions. So if you don't already have somebody in your corner, we definitely recommend checking them out. We're here today to talk about what's on top of everybody's mind. You can't stop seeing it, hearing it, or reading about it. Copilot. Specifically, though, we'll be talking about Copilot inside of M365. And towards the end, we do have kind of, I guess, a sneak peek, if you will, a little more than a sneak peek. We do have access to Copilot inside of a demo environment that's integrated into a Power Automate. So if you're not familiar with Power Automate, no worries. It's an opportunity to kind of show it in action a little bit. We're excited to do that. So let's go ahead and let's get this kicked off. Let's do it. Now, that short clip kind of gives us a preview of everything that we're going to be touching on today. We've got some additional clips as well throughout the session. I am kind of curious, though, just genuine curiosity, since we have everybody here. I've got a couple of polls that I'll throw out while we're here and rocking and rolling. But this first one here, what is your expected timeline for implementing Copilot into your organization or your workflow? Is it something that you are actively exploring options for right now, as in ASAP? Is it something you're maybe looking and hoping to utilize within the next 3 months, the next 6 months? Is this maybe kind of a longer term thought? Or, hey, I'm not sure because it's not even generally available. I'm just looking for all the information I possibly can, right? No matter where you're at on that spectrum, I do appreciate everybody filling out those polls here for us as we keep on keeping on. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about Copilot. We're actually going to talk about how it works as well a little bit. I don't want to say into the weeds, so to speak. I'll try to keep it as high level as humanly possible. But just to give some additional context, because it's like anything, right? It's really great to have all these cool, brand new whiz bang things, but if you don't understand how they work and you don't understand how to maximize and get the most out of them, are you really getting the most for your money, right? So those are a few things that we're going to be touching on here today. Think of Copilot though. Once you are able to get your hands on it, it's your new work ally, your new buddy, right? Just kind of day to day, because what it does is it harnesses the capabilities of large language models. You're going to hear large language models quite a bit, something you probably already heard of. Shorthanded, that's just LLMs. That's that's referencing. And what it does is it melds them with your data in the Microsoft Graph and your M365 app. So this synergy, if you will, is what's transforming your words, your prompts, your natural language into a tool for getting things done, right? So like say for example, in Word, you can use Copilot to get the ball rolling, right? So like instead of sitting there and being faced with writer's blank, just staring at an empty page, you can go ahead, just give Copilot a starting point, something to help you shape, refine, which in turn is just going to save you a ton of time, right? You can also use it for editing. Sorry, blank there. Just editing purposes as well, right? I know a lot of times we sit there and we spend time going, well, gosh, does this look right? Would it look better if I said it this way? With Copilot, you can have it constantly pump out iterations until you're happy with the finalized result. Now, it's a new technology, and if anybody's used Chat GPT or you've used it inside of Bing or anything like that, you probably know just as well as anybody, it's not perfect. Okay. Um, Sometimes the suggestions hit the mark, sometimes they miss them, right? But at the very least, everything is in line with propelling you forward, right? Helping you kind of steer the course of your original ideas. And then you're using Copilot more so to kind of, polish, modify, or even critique what you're working on. With PowerPoint, Copilot's great there too, because it can take brief prompts, turn them into great presentations, also integrating content that is living in and persisting inside of your M365 environment. In an Excel, same thing, right? I mean, you can quickly dive into some trend analysis and craft some really impressive data visualizations in moments compared to hours, days, weeks, right? And working with all these tricky formulas. Because the reality is, all we want to do is we want to be able to focus on the work that truly counts, right? But too often it's just natural. Some of it's personality, some of it's just nature of the work. We're bogged down by a lot of menial tasks. Now, Copilot's can help lighten that burden, right? Say in Outlook, for example, it can quickly cut through all those lengthy email threads and draft responses swiftly. Okay, freeing up your inbox so that way it doesn't look so daunting. In Teams, every meeting's efficient because it can summarize the key points, note any sort of agreements and disagreements, and then suggest even some next steps right there on the spot. But it's not just about enhancing individual work in your personal day to day. It's really going to reshape how organizations handle knowledge because there's so much underutilized data and insights that are living inside of our organizations currently. We have more data than we know what to do with. Now, that's not a bad thing, right? There's no such thing, I would argue, as too much data. The issue lies much more with how do we capitalize on the vast amount of data that we have, and how do we get the most out of it, right? How do we put it to use? How do we make sure that we're making more and more data-driven decisions, right? Because data-driven decisions ultimately is what helps drive a ton of businesses forward. Now, with things like business chat too, you're going to be able to easily navigate through all of your business and organization data and your apps, find those kinds of information and insights amid the, if you want to call it, a data deluge, right? Just a vast amount of information. In turn, it's just going to help eliminate an endless search for answers all the time, scrolling through, trying to find things. Was this conversation that in this team's session, or is it in my email, or is it a private conversation? You're no longer going to have to even spend time pondering those questions, right? Another thing that Copilot's really going to do, and you may not see it immediately or realize it immediately, but it is going to help you excel in the things that you're already good at, and help you swiftly understand and learn what you don't know yet. Okay. There are thousands of different commands inside of Microsoft products that can be used, but really, there, for the most part, only a handful of them are actually utilized on a daily basis. But now that you're going to have this powerful functionality at your fingertips through natural language commands, this is really just the start, right? It's gonna revolutionize the partnership between AI and people. AI is not going to replace you. Copilot can't replace you. I want to make that super clear. Copilot's again just going to help you be better at what you're already good at, help you learn things that you don't know. The more that you actually use it, you'll see why that's the case. Okay. Now, it's not just Chat GPT in M365. Okay. That's a common misconception. A lot of people think, oh, okay, well, it's literally just GPT inside of Microsoft. That's it, right? No, it's smarter because it's mixing the best of Chat GPT with your business tools and your business data, right? And to use it, you're just talking to it in your own words. Now, another piece that a lot of people are concerned about, though, with all this AI, this new technology, this new that, is security, right? A lot of us are concerned that, maybe because it does feel like everything it produces is magic. Are there any sort of guardrails in place? And I want to assure you, Copilot works with your business data safely. It keeps privacy in check while also giving you smart answers that fit right into your work context, be it your past emails, your meetings, you name it. Security is a given here. Okay. It fits directly into M365's safety features. So it's as secure as the same apps that you use every single day. Your any policies that you have in place, right? Sensitivity labels, you name it, everything's going to be adhere to, because we also take extra care so that way your data is not just showing up where it shouldn't. Copilot uses the same trusted technology to keep individual and company data safe. Now, it does work everywhere, right? Working with all the apps you're familiar with. So no matter where you're at in M365, you're going to be able to put it to work. And here's the other thing: Copilot is actually always learning new tricks to help you work smarter, not harder. It's built to evolve and handle more and more sophisticated tasks over time. So actually, you're going to have, potentially, it's not going to be for every organization. It's interesting to think about and conceive and see how all this shakes out. But there will be organizations that have, technically speaking, I mean, to a degree, I guess everybody will, but some more than others, a kind of like a personalized version of Copilot that is just for your organization, because it's going to get used to your lingo, the way that you guys communicate, the things that you deem important, and it's going to triage those and keep those in higher regard than others, right? And the more information that it's given, the more information it has access to, the better you'll find that it is working in the manner that you see fit, right? That actually helps you on a day-to-day. Now, to talk a little bit more about how it works, think really of, let's go back to GPT. Think of GPT as like a bookworm robot that's read pretty much everything on the internet. Now, the reason it knows pretty much everything on the internet is so that way it could learn how to chat, how to communicate, how to go back and forth, right? It's smart enough to make a good guess about what to say next. But the only reason it's able to do that is based off the information that it has absorbed up to this point. Now, again, sometimes it gets things mixed up or says something unexpected. It is constantly evolving. OpenAI is really focused on continuing to make it better, make it smarter. Now, think of M365 Copilot as that same kind of bookworm robot, but with a job in your office, right? So it's taking all the knowledge from Chat GPT, and then it's combining it with all of your tools, Word, Excel, your calendar, you name it, right? It's like a sponge because it's soaking up everything. It cuts down a lot of sentences and anything you're providing it into bite-sized pieces, helping it make sense of words and phrases. It essentially, to a degree, it does practice by playing a guessing game with what word comes next in a line. And then for specific tasks, it goes through extra training to kind of sharpen its skills. What I mean by that is, say that you're working with Copilot for the first time on a unique task. If it's never done it before, you do have to kind of steer it to a degree. But then once you've got it steered in the direction that you're happy with, if you like, you can let it kind of go to the races and see where it takes you. Or if you need to stop it, check it, and give it more to work with, you can do so as well. Now, the way that you ask questions does directly shape the answers that you get. That's important to notate. One of my favorite ways to utilize Chat GPT, just from a back and forth perspective, is whenever I'm looking for it to generate text or rewrite something, I always tell it to use simple but varied language and to avoid metaphors and to avoid words that sound corny when spoken out loud as much as humanly possible, right? Ask it to be more straightforward. That way you can cut through the noise, only provide what you know needs to be absorbed, what needs to be digested, and then you can ignore the rest, trim the fat, right? So if that's not a prompt that you've used before, I encourage everybody, if you have access to Chat GPT or Bing, right? Or maybe you're one of the very, very lucky few who has access to Copilot. I'd be shocked if you did, but you never know. I encourage everybody to try that prompt out, right? That's one of my personal favorites. Now, of course, we talked, it's constantly evolving, but it's like a power trio, right? Because it is combining everything, communicating in everyday language. It's just here to make interaction throughout more seamless. Now, the way that it starts is from a prompt with you in the app. Copilot will then pre-process the prompt through an approach that's called grounding. Now, when we say grounding, this just improves the quality of the prompt. So that way you get answers that are relevant and actionable, right? Now, one of the most important parts of grounding, though, is making a call to the Microsoft Graph to retrieve your business content and context. And then it's combining this user data from the graph with other inputs to further refine and improve the prompt. Now, it takes that and it sends that modified prompt to the large language model. Okay. And then the Copilot takes the response from the large language model and post processes it. When we talk about post processing, this includes additional grounding calls to the graph, some responsible AI checks, security, compliance, and privacy views and command generation. And then the last step is sending a response back to you and any commands needed back to the apps that you may be working with or in. Okay. And then it's just iteratively processing and orchestrating all of these different services to produce a result that does feel like magic. Now, another big difference to point out just between ChatGPT and Copilot is that, yes, both are large language models, but again, Copilot includes the Graph API to be able to use all of the data that's within your M365 apps. Now, we're going to break it down just a little bit more into a little bit more granular into each individual large Microsoft Suite product, okay, just to generate some ideas, give you some thoughts, some things to think about, right? Some ways to use it, right? So if we take a look at Word, again, Copilot's going to help you shift from the grind of brainstorming to creating something that is great with relative ease. Okay, so say you got to whip up a 2-page proposal. Just tell Copilot what you want in the proposal, and then watch it as it builds a complete draft, pulling in just the right information from your company's files, because it is smart like that. It gets the job done, and it does it with an eye for what matters inside of your field. Now, it's not just for starting something off too, because it can help you make what you already have better and sharper. It's got a knack for making your words flow, whether you're keeping it serious or whether you're keeping it light, right? No matter your tone, whatever tone you want it to present and portray, it will do just that. Now, when it comes to trimming down large documents or just getting to the gist, Copilot's great at that too, because it can take a mountain of words and boil it down to just the key points, helping preserve and keep your message strong and clear. And I can't emphasize tonality enough, right? So think of the context of whatever it is that you're creating, who it's going to be consumed by, whether that's for, say it's the C-suites, right? The big shots, or you're trying to keep something a little more relaxed for the team. Just tell Copilot what you have in mind, what it is you want to accomplish, how you want it to be received, and then it will do its best to operate in that manner. I know me personally, there's been a handful of times where, I'm sitting there, I'm staring at an email, and I'm trying to think, gosh, how do I get my message across without sounding like a jerk, right? Because I feel like I've repeated myself 10 times. How do I'm sure a handful of us probably resonate with that situation. You're like, why are we still talking about this? How do you respond without coming off as a jerk? Instead of pounding your head against the wall trying to figure out how to get that done, just tell Copilot it's exactly what you're trying to avoid, read out what it provides, and then refine it further if need be. So I say that to say this: the more you tell it what you need, the happier you're going to be with the result. It's all about giving Copilot clear directions to follow, right? Let's see Copilot in Word now in action.
Copilot in Microsoft 365 can help you unleash creativity at work. Imagine you need to create a rock-solid proposal to win the business, and you don't have time for writer's block. You can use Copilot to draft a proposal based on your customer notes in OneNote, as well as another internal document. Copilot scans the target files and gets to work, quickly generating a first draft with all the key details from the files you provided. Now, let's say you want this to look like your previous proposals. Copilot can give you a draft in the format you typically use. It inserts product images and pulls in relevant visuals from other files. You can include a short summary at the top of the document. And Copilot can make suggestions to strengthen the proposal, like adding an FAQ, which it will generate for you to refine.
One of my favorite parts about that short clip is at the very end.
Copilot.
Because notice it ended with, not just being able to generate what it did, but the ability to provide suggestions based on what you have to stir up some potential ideas that maybe you weren't even thinking about asking. I think that's incredibly powerful, right? To not just get what we want to be done, but also to provide some additional ideas that we didn't even have the inclination to ask, right, to include. Um, I think that's probably going to be one of the most impressive parts of this technology, and hopefully one of the most utilized. Um, uh, so okay, great. Let's move on next here though to let's take a look at Copilot in Excel. Um, how many of you have used formulas in Excel spreadsheets and maybe screwed something up or tried to create one from scratch, and then kind of panicked a little bit? Has anybody been in that kind of situation? If you have, either throw up an emoji or maybe a message in the chat, or just anything in general. Just curious. I know I've been there myself personally, in both situations. I've created one from scratch and it's not functioned the way that it hoped it would, and it wouldn't display the way that I hoped it would. But then I've also gone into somebody else's functions inside their Excel and screwed it up and then panicked trying to figure out how to fix it. Right. Here's the deal with Copilot. Those scenarios no longer going to be a problem. You're not going to have to spend hours banging your head against the wall trying to figure out, how do I display this data in a way that's visually appealing while also accomplishing an objective, right? Because when it comes to creating things inside of Excel, it's not just about the numbers. It's about finding all of the different hidden messages that are sitting there waiting for us to actually see, right? And actually be discovered. So, you can, with Copilot, spot some patterns in your data really quick. Say something, hey, what if XYZ? And then Copilot can help paint a picture of what could happen, giving you a peek into the potential future. Copilot's also always going to suggest the best formulas for you and your solution to help make sense of your data quickly. Now, say maybe you're curious about how your products are selling in different places. Just ask, and really what feels again like magic, you're going to get a clear rundown of what's hot and what's not, product wise, region by region, product by product, as granular as you want to get. Maybe you're someone who's responsible for trying to predict market shifts and how those could affect certain numbers, maybe call them costs, right? You could ask Copilot, hey, what happens if our material costs go up by 10%? And then it can work out some different possibilities for you. And then, when you need to know how changing one thing, like maybe your ad budget, could shake things up with your sales, Copilot can provide some ideas and some solutions for that as well, right? You could even do things maybe not so. You can mix if you want to. Numbers and non-numbers, right? You could say, hey, what does customer happiness have to do with them coming back, right? Or what's maybe the smartest way to work out how much we've grown since last year. And this is all these different things that we're touching on right now is what Copilot in Excel is all about, taking your complex data puzzles and turning them into clear, digestible visualizations with great insights, just from you asking a simple question or a couple of questions. Let's go ahead and see it in action, though.
Copilot in Excel helps you make sense of all your data. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in and helping you better understand what's happening. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model and even asks if you want to learn more about what it did with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot in Excel turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
I always find the visuals inside of Excel to be the hardest for me to get to be exactly what I want to show, and that's why I'm looking forward to being able to use Copilot to do that, along with a variety of other things. But now let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about Copilot in PowerPoint. The amount of times I know I've been asked to create a slide deck for, gosh, you name it, right? And then I'm sitting there staring at all these different templates and shapes, and how do I, position certain things on the slide to make it look good? And then even with my best efforts, it never comes out the way I want it to, right? And I always have to go to somebody who knows more um, about, digital design, right? Then I have the time or interest in learning. So, but now with Copilot, we're going to be able to simplify a lot of those steps, right? Because you're going to be able to take really simple ideas and turn them into very eye-catching presentations, right? Adding a spark to your message with visuals that helps grab attention. Say you've got a Word document, okay, and you have to make a presentation out of it or for it. You can tell Copilot, hey, take the main ideas here, the pieces that stick out the most, and then also show me the best way to display them in a PowerPoint. Let's do seven slides, 10 slides, 12 slides, right? Whatever you deem necessary. But Copilot doesn't just stop at choosing the content and giving you something to work with. It can also make your slides look great by suggesting some additional layout tweaks, some better text styles, right? And even some visual tips that help draw the eye to a certain part of a slide. Whether you've got just a limited amount of information or a ton, or if you feel like maybe even the presentation you have is dragging on, Copilot can help you trim it down, right? And then for finishing touches, it spruces everything up. So that way it's not only rich in information, but also as you're looking at it. But I'd say the real magic of Copilot in PowerPoint is how it listens and acts, right? Let's actually watch that together here.
Let's say you're getting ready for your customer pitch meeting. Everyone has had a moment when they wish they could turn their proposal into a customer-ready presentation without having to start from scratch. Now you can. Using just your own words, Copilot can translate Word into PowerPoint. You can also translate PowerPoint into Word. Now you have a professional-looking presentation that you can hone and polish. Let's say you want to add a slide. Give Copilot some quick instructions. There it goes, ready for you to review. So this slide is too wordy. Let's ask Copilot to make it more visual. Give it a few seconds. And check this out. Copilot can even animate the slide. It gives it a professional design treatment in a single click. But it doesn't stop there. Copilot even generates speaker notes for all your slides. It's not only a time saver, it's helping you be a better presenter.
I really love the way that now you can spend more of your time ideating, or in conjunction with Copilot, ideating about different projects or different ways to do something, and you're no longer going to have to spend the time on clicking and dragging and making this one little word boldened or highlighted, just all of these tiny menial tasks. We can now just either ask Copilot to do it or roll with what it provides to us. But again, I'd always recommend, think of Copilot as your sidekick, your buddy, if you will, but it can't do everything for you, right? So do please keep that in mind. There's limitations, as with all technology. There are certain limitations. But let's go ahead here. Let's switch gears and talk about Copilot and Outlook real quick, because what it's going to be able to do is really change the game from an email perspective. Now, the email Outlook and landscape has changed considerably just over the past couple of years with, communication tools now like Teams, right? For example, like we're using Teams right now. More and more of the information that is being shared and that's flowing across an organization happens in Teams, but there's still lots of information living inside of Outlook in your inboxes as well. So think about some of those long email conversations that you've got that take forever to read. You can have Copilot just sum them up for you. So that way, you can quickly get up to speed on something you were trying to remember, or maybe something that you missed. When it comes to replying, emails can eat up your time, right? And that's where you can have Copilot step in, craft some responses, while also taking into account the emails content that you're responding to. So that way you can send off replies without any sort of delays or trying to reword things, tonality, right? Maybe say you're trying to set up meetings. This is one of my favorite parts. When it comes to setting up meetings, just tell Copilot, hey, give me a team meeting for next Wednesday, right? And include these individuals and consider it done, because what it'll be able to do is check your schedule, and provided everybody has shared their calendars with you, they'll be able to check everybody else's calendar too, find a time where everybody's free, should it be necessary, or be able to find a time that includes the most amount of people who are free, right? Think of all those times you've been asked to set up a meeting, and then you have to go cross-reference 10, 15, 20 different calendars. It takes like an hour, hour and a half, right? And then you're having to message people back and forth. Hey, are you able to move this meeting? We need it all hands on deck, da, 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 da. All of that time and energy spent, no more. Okay, Copilot can sift through all that madness for you. Or even, just think of it like this. Think of, you step away for lunch or you go on vacation either, right? You come back, you can, you dread opening your Outlook when you get back from vacation, because there are 1,000 emails waiting for you. Some of them total junk. In fact, probably majority of them are junk, but there are quite a few that are important or have important tidbits. You can tell Copilot, hey, sift through the past week's emails, highlight any action tasks that have been assigned to me, or anything that is specific to this project. Give me the updates, or anybody who's reached out to me personally, summarize those for me. And now, instead of clicking through every single email individually, you can just get kind of like, think of it like a one pager or a two pager that you can briefly look at, see what's important, and then take it a step further with that output that Copilot provided you. Say, hey, based on what we've got here from these emails, let's create a to-do list and triage by importance and priority with this context provided. All right. And now, instead of spending an entire day or two getting back up to speed from being on a much deserved vacation, sipping Mai Tais on the beach, now getting up to speed takes you an hour, maybe 2 hours, right? At most, to get, back in tune with where everything is. Of course, there's work to catch up on, is work to catch up on, but you can have Copilot help you out there too, right? So it's not just what it can do initially, it's what it can do afterwards. It's a compounding effect. So let's go ahead and see Copilot and Outlook in action as well.
Copilot in Outlook helps you stay on top of email. You have important emails to respond to. Copilot can help you separate the signal from the noise and give you hours of time back. It helps you triage your inbox so you can prioritize the most important emails. And Copilot helps you on the go in Outlook Mobile. It can summarize long email threads. You can draft a reply, use data from an Excel file, and Copilot will generate a reply for you. You can edit it. You can make it more concise, change the writing style, or add more context. Now all that's left to do is review the proposed response and hit send. It's a productivity game changer.
Say what you want, but all I envision when I see that last part of the clip, and being able to create visuals and grab all the information you need from a mobile device, right? Like from your cell phone. I know there's a handful of times where just over the years, I go golfing with my dad, and sometimes towards the tail end of the workday, and you get messages and stuff, and he's sitting there on his phone trying to find this and find that on this small little screen. With Copilot, man, would that have been so much quicker? And then maybe he wouldn't have three putted on the back nine because he was too busy with work, right? You never know. So think of that. Copilot could maybe improve your golf game if that story rings familiar or true with anybody. Maybe you got to dip out an hour or two early and somebody hits you up with a last minute request. And normally you would have to have your physical laptop to get that task done. Think about being able to do it from your phone, right? Absolutely incredible and powerful. And to talk about Copilot in Teams as well, right? I want to touch on it in Teams and business chat because there's a lot of great things and features it can do in here as well. So a lot of times we get into meetings, they're long, they're robust, sometimes they're relevant to us, sometimes only maybe 5 minutes of an hour-long meeting is relevant to us. Say you missed it because you had to step out or something came up or you were too focused on another task. Ask Copilot to find this content or this stuff that was said based on this topic, summarize it, condense it, anything important of note, right? You can ask it to give a rundown, right? Or, give us some next steps, right? Maybe you need to organize a little bit. You can literally tell it to pull together a list of action items and then get kind of like a tidy table of tasks and then be able to, dole out responsibilities. But inside of business chat with M365, now you're talking about more than just messaging, right? Because you're talking about a unified workspace that is, again, bringing together your emails, your documents, your meetings for a really dynamic AI enhanced workflow because it is able to gather everything, giving you full pictures of your projects and tasks, putting you in control, enabling you to command your data with simple, regular, everyday language, the way that we already talk, to help you make choices, handle your workload with more insight, get your recaps, your summarizations, and then for the planners among us here, even something like, hey, show me the milestones for Q4, and then for Q4 to business chat, and then it'll fetch everything, all the important dates and goals from across your entire M365 environment. Let's go ahead and see it in action here.
Copilot in Teams makes every meeting a productive one. Here, you're in a meeting with your team. You can ask Copilot to summarize what's happened so far. Copilot summarizes who said what and what points were made, capturing the spirit of the discussion. And as the meeting progresses, you can check in on where people stand. You can even ask Copilot what questions are unresolved. It is just amazing to see this happen in real time during a meeting.
Excellent. So now that we've covered all those, I did say I wanted to show everybody here. Let me adjust my screen briefly because we were able to get some access to Copilot inside of a demo environment. And this is, again, just to show you what it looks like, not in, a nice, pretty demonstration video, but just in real-time usage. Okay. So just to provide some quick context here, I'm inside of Microsoft 365, inside of Microsoft 365, office.com. I'm inside of the Power Automate portal. Now, if you're not familiar with Power Automate, Power Apps, the idea of Power Automate is taking manual, mundane, menial tasks and automating them, whether that be based on a certain trigger, based on a certain time of the week. It's automating part of your day-to-day, okay, for a variety of reasons. The way you do that is with things called workflows, okay? And flows are built in steps, and each step can be, they're codependent, waiting on one to finish between the other. You can have all sorts of things, be it like, approvals set inside. So, something can't progress until somebody approves it. We could probably spend 2, 3 hours just talking about Power Automate flows, but I want to stick to what it can do here in real time. So let's say I'm somebody who wants to create a new flow inside of Power Automate. Maybe I've never done it before. Okay. Maybe I've never done it before. I don't even know where to start. Well, if you don't know where to start, no sweat, no worry. Here's why. Let's go to new flow. Let's go to template. Or you know what, better yet, let's go create, and let's go with, we'll just pick one of the top three here. Let's go with automated cloud flow. And let's say let's say when a new channel message is added. Let's do that. Now, where we're at right now is the Power Automate canvas. Okay, this is where you build, edit, make changes. Okay, very much a drag and drop, add a couple of organization specific pieces, or project orient specific context, locations inside your organization and your teams, right? Your environments, and then you're off to the races. Well, off to the right hand side of the screen, we can see Copilot right here telling us, hey, if you want me to change your flow, just say what you want. For example, even tell them, hey, if you don't know what to ask, here's some ideas of what you can ask. Let's say this. I'm going to click on this trigger here. And then when a new channel message is added for, I don't know, let's see, we don't have a connection. So let's see if we can connect to Teams. Let's see if it can sign into that connector for us. Connecting to apps and services. Oh, okay, great. Look at that. Now we're connected to Teams. Well, let's see from here inside of our demo environment. Now I can see the different teams that I have available. I'm going to go with the Mark 8 project team. And we'll just go based off the team in general. Okay, so now let's say I want a daily summary of all messages inside of this team's channel to be emailed to me for review daily. So I can get a quick overview of what the day entailed, look over, see if there's anything maybe I need to follow up on before I leave or for the next day, right? So now I can tell Copilot, I want to summarize all messages from this from the Teams channel selected. I want a summary of the messages emailed to me daily at 1 p.m. CST. Okay, now I've given quite a few instructions, limited context here, right? But we'll go ahead and see what it spits out. Now we can see Copilot is in action, saying, hey, when a new channel message is added, now it's adding a couple of actions, get messages. Now, there are still some pieces that I have to go through and fill out manually, right? Or I have to specify to Copilot, hey, which exact channel, right, from that Teams am I looking to summarize from, right? What do I want the email to if I want the subject to be different, who all do I want to add to it? I can either do these things manually or I can literally just instruct Copilot to add XYZ. And now you can see it's iterative. So instead of me having to sit here and figure out, so if I've never created, for example, a Power Automate workflow, I wouldn't even know where to start with from this trigger to these corresponding actions, right? But now, at least with what I have on the board, I can continue to ask Copilot, okay, the top portion, the trigger says that there's invalid parameters. What does that mean? How do I fix it? Right? And Copilot can instruct you, hey, you need to add the specific channel that you want this information from, right? So on and so forth. So it's not going to, this is a good example, right? It's not going to every time just be able to magically spit out a 100% polished product. It can't do that. It's not capable, right? Because context is king. Context is everything. So it's one of those things. The more you work with it, the more information you provide it, the more that it's worked with you, right? The more that it understands, the easier it'll get as time goes on. Not just for you, but for the model as well and the output. So we are kind of close to top of the hour here. I want to wrap up a little bit early. Just wanted to show everybody that here briefly, give everybody some of their time back. Really appreciate everybody's time. If you don't have a partner in your pocket already, somebody to reach out to and work with, please feel free to answer these poll questions too on the way out, just about how your organization currently addresses data security. And of course, how confident you feel in leveraging AI applications within M365 for enhancing your productivity. Is it something you're really confident in? Maybe you're already using AI. Is it something you're looking into? Maybe you're neutral, or maybe you're not confident. Whatever may have you, wherever you're at on that spectrum. But yeah, please answer those poll questions on the way out. If you have any questions as well, please feel free to ask. I'll leave the floor open here for the next couple of minutes. But if you don't, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us. And I just hope everybody has happy holidays. All righty. If nobody has any questions, we're going to go ahead and end this. Appreciate everybody's time. Have a great rest of the week and happy holidays.